I'm Ashleigh.
And I'm Brooke.
And you're here with us on A Teachers Who Talk Crime
podcast.
Mm-hmm. I feel real fancy today because last time Brooke had AirPods in.
Yeah.
But my AirPods are like dinosaurs. So I didn't know if it would work. But here we are. Those of you watching on YouTube, you can see it.
Headphone free.
Ooh, I'm headphone free because that was really annoying.
It was. We were bulky.
No, because like my Beats are like ghetto. So like these are so old. So they would leave like the white, like it's coming off. So every time I would take off my headphones, there would be like white, whatever this material is on my face. It was.
But we're out of that life now. We have AirPod life.
You sure do.
Ooh.
So I'm in the 3rd week of school.
And I'm in the 7th.
Is that the 3rd week of school? Is it happening
already?
I started after Labor Day? Yeah, right? Yeah, 100%. This is the 3rd week of school, and I have to say I'm finally getting adjusted. I was literally like a chicken with her head cut off, 100%. Like,
but now you're just a chicken with like your foot cut off.
Yeah, just my foot. Like I'm limping, but I'm lit. You know?
Yeah.
Like before, no text messages were getting answered. No one was hearing from me. I was literally a ghost. Okay. Because the beginning of the year prep was crazy this year. Like prepping for my kids for IEPs. I had to make sure I had all their IEP work. And it was a lot of making sure manipulatives were cut and laminated. And who has the debate? Let's see. Who wins? Do you laminate and then cut? Or do you cut, laminate, and cut again?
I laminate, then cut.
See, I'm extra. Because I feel like...
You cut, laminate, cut?
Yeah, because if... I feel like it doesn't stay because the edges aren't as
but...
And then eventually and I like my stuff to be durable. Like, I don't want to have to go in the next year and re-laminate it. So... That's why it took me so long.
I think I'm very type B though. Like if my number line, right? So if it's falling down by December, 3 is just going to be missing for the rest of the year.
Oh no. No.
Like last year, I think 10 was missing, 3 was missing, -1 was missing. Yeah.
So what is it, a type A when you're like...
You're type A, yeah.
See, there's certain things that I'm type A for. Like my classroom decorations, like on a beam. Like when I am hyper-focused on things in my classroom, like nobody speaks to me. Nobody talks to me. Because this morning while my co-teacher was doing morning meeting, I was hanging up our schedule because I needed our brand new schedule up. I need like... Don't ask Miss Brant nothing. She's busy. And then from there, I had to hang up my... I'm done. What do I do next sign? And that whole thing was a thing. And once I was done, it was great.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not like that. No, I'm not like that. Today, my while and out class, they were going to do remediation with me for their test corrections. And then we were parallel learning where half the room was on technology doing something and the other half was doing a worksheet depending on their focus abilities. People that can focus, they were doing technology. People that cannot focus, they had paper pencil, right?
And so were they doing the same thing or different things?
They were doing the same topic.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I was like, okay, I need these people back at the table. I knew that I had their test like up front in my stack. Could not find the test for like 10 minutes. I had placed them under a folder, placed the folders in the basket. And obviously the class didn't care. They were like, oh, we're getting out of work. So like, let's not help her look for them. I just, I really wish I was type A about a lot of things. I'm not.
Like certain things, like my desk has to be organized before I leave for the day. It has to be.
I try to do that. I really do.
It makes me cringe if I come into a dirty desk. Like it throws off my whole entire day.
I clean So I go on planning 5th period, and I have a group of boys in 4th period, and they help me clean before they go to 5th period. So like I get to end my last 2 days with a clean classroom. Like they straighten my desk, pick up my pencils, wipe my tables, sweep the room. They do all of that for me. And so I do get 2 class periods, and I feel like that's becoming like a ritual.
Okay.
Like if I still see stuff on the floor, I'm like, I just cleaned this room. I didn't really do anything. They did it, but I take credit.
I see that. Like certain things can be messy, like papers, like they're kind of just thrown everywhere right now. I haven't come up with a organized system for that. But like my class, I have to walk in and it looks put together.
Yeah.
Like my kids know Miss Brant does not like creatures because I will swat at flies all day long. Like in the middle of teaching, like what? Like they are aware. They're like, a creature, Miss Brant. We saw a creature. Sure did. Don't let those creatures come in our classroom.
Yeah, don't get the creatures. Well, we found out. Did I tell you our night janitor story?
No.
So we have a night custodian, right?
Okay.
Most schools do.
Yeah.
And we found out that he was not sweeping our rooms. He was taking a leaf blower and blowing out our classrooms. A leaf blower.
Is he still employed?
He is. And you know what he has the audacity to do? He has the audacity to come in my room and tell me, you need to have your chairs on top of your desk. I don't sweep rooms if chairs are not on top of the desk. I'm sorry, sir. I've been a little busy.
And you also don't sweep.
You leaf blow.
You do.
That's why it stinks.
We put up... Thanks. We put up chairs 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I don't understand the Monday and Wednesday because if like you're doing whatever you're doing on Friday and then we're again putting our chairs on Monday, I don't really get it.
Right.
Like, but that's just me. I don't really know what goes on. I'm new. I don't ask
You're
no
just
questions.
here.
100%. I'm just doing my job. I'm just teaching the children of America.
Yeah.
But I will say that it is so refreshing being able to teach one class versus 4. The way that I am able to interact and truly get to know my kids now is absolutely insane. Like, I don't understand how I was functioning these past couple of years.
My neighbor asked me tonight, like, she was like, how is it going? I was like, well, I'm 2 White Claws in, so, you know, whatever. It was just rough. Yeah, everything's fine. It was just rough today. But she was like, so how many kids do you have? And I was like, I have 140. I have 140. Let's say that they all have active adults in their lives. Do you know how many parents I have to, like, do you know how many, I was telling James tonight, we're going to banter for a few more minutes, but I was telling James tonight, do you know why teachers are so exhausted? Because you have Billy who needs a fidget the second he walks in. These are made up names, by the way. Billy who needs a fidget the second he walks in. You got Sarah who needs a spinning chair because she needs flexible seating, right? Because she can't keep her cheek in a seat. You have Tommy who has to have chunking on every assignment. So you have to print it a certain way so you can fold it hot dog style so that he only sees 4 problems at a time. Then you have who else do I have? Then I have Sally, who has to have numbers on her graph and has to have a checklist to make sure everything's done. So a checklist for every single problem. So that's an alternate assignment. I have 2 geniuses, Bob and Tommy, another Tommy, 2 geniuses that I have alternate assignments for because they are so smart. They're already on 11th, 12th grade level. So my work is way too easy for them. So they have alternate. And I said, James, I do that 7 times a day. I was like, do you know how exhausting it is?
It's so exhausting. I'm exhausted listening to all the things because, again, we have to do this ourselves.
Yes.
Like, no one is doing this for us. We have to do this.
So if you saw the TikTok that I posted on our story, it was like, this teacher got observed and the principal was like, well, I didn't see any small group in your setting. And she was like, yeah, so you told me a small group was only for those who were not proficient, and all 33 of them are not proficient. So this is my small group. It is kind of like a large group, but you know, like, what do they expect?
Yeah, that's similar to the video that I posted on Teachers Talk Crimes with everybody like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Like, why are we in 7th grade on a 4th grade level? Why are we still pushing these kids?
Yes.
I get it. No child left behind. Like, you can only get left back once. I completely understand that. But there has to be some mandatory remedial work if you are that far behind, because you cannot expect me to do my job if you are not if you're that far behind.
And if that's a recurring thing in your school, you need to dig deep in that budget and maybe take some money from your football program or your baseball program or whatever other sporting events that gets all the money. You need to hire yourself some math interventionists or some reading interventionists. You need to be hiring specialists, because being a one-woman show, a one-man show, a one non-binary show, it's exhausting.
It sure is. It sure is. And I feel like, granted, I only have 22 kids this year. We have 7 total IEPs in my class. So because I have a co-teacher, we split the caseloads, which is nice. So when he teaches, I usually pull kids out to do their services, and vice versa. But it's just like the prep work for all of that on top of like teaching. And then you have those kids who are like having meltdowns in your class. I had to make I have a little safety cone. I have a whole bunch of them that I use for my bathroom, but I never use the yellow one. So my one kid, he doesn't have any type of diagnosis or anything, but I think I'm going to reach out to the school about it, because he's had 2 meltdowns today. The first one was because like what he was supposed to write on was a graph, like one of those graphing sheets with the little teeny tiny boxes. First of all, no, for 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, why is this what you want us to write on? Make the boxes bigger. Okay. So he's freaking out, having a moment. So I put him in the calm down tent, because my theme this year is camping. So we have a tent in the corner. So it's our calm down tent. So I was talking to him. I was like, hey, I'm going to put this timer on for 5 minutes. There's some fidgets in this box you could play with. Da, 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 da. Wrote a little note, jotted it down for myself, because I want to keep data. So when I go to the necessary people, I'm like, these are all the data points that I pulled for him and what has happened. Something needs to advance. But the crazy thing is when you have 1 million students, it's so hard to do that, because they're constantly coming in and leaving your classroom. Having a set 22 is literally heaven.
I would love to one day be a math interventionist and teach small groups all day long. That's how you grow kids. Like, I don't
100%.
understand.
And my kids need to grow. They need to grow.
I don't understand what our state or our higher ups are doing, just in general, nationwide.
100%.
Like,
and
why are we still putting this many kids in a classroom?
100%. The fact that there's not caps on classrooms really blows my mind. And especially in New York, when I'll see people, oh, I have 30 something kids in the classroom. Are you joking?
No.
I quit immediately.
I can't.
When I found out my caseload was 22, when I found out Skylar's class had 20 kids in it, last year in kindergarten, both the girls had 28 solid in their class.
No.
I know my kids thrive on small group. I know. I know what they need, and that's not what they need. They need lower class sizes. They need more one-on-ones. Like, So I'm really, really, really happy. I'm going to knock on wood, because my mom's like, I hope this keeps up. And I sure do too, because the amount of happiness that I get going to, even when I stay late at work, it's not even like, I'm not mad about it, because I'm like, I know this is for a good cause. I know that what I'm doing is actually going to help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
when
awesome.
you have 1 billion kids, like, it's so hard to really build that relationship with them. I mean, we do our best, but
we do.
But the past couple of years, I've been like, I know my kids, but I don't know them on a level that I know my group just now. And it's only week 3. So I'm really thankful for that. I hope our class sizes continue to be small. And I really just hope the school year continues to
be great. It will.
To spark joy in my soul.
Yes, it will.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
That was our teacher rant.
Yeah, I mean, we have them.
We do. Everyone deserves to rant, especially, when you had to come home and have a drink. So we're going to jump into our
Estudiante Estrella.
And I'm going to bring you the star student this week. And this is not a name. This is a bunch of letters. So, yeah. Try to pronounce this one, Ashleigh. Ready?
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get a pen. Hold on. I'm going to try. I'm going to try real hard. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, our star student this week is USUSJSHEHSJEUWBB.
oos. Just. First of all, the crazy thing is I'm literally going over like long and short vowel sounds with my kids. And I'm like, every syllable needs to have a vowel sound. If it doesn't, it's not a real word. No.
Not a real word. Take that one to school tomorrow.
I'm just going to say oos, oos, and a bunch of letters.
Oos, oos, and a bunch of letters. We are going to go with that. Oos, oos, and a bunch of letters.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So oos, oos with a bunch of letters says, "Hey, Teachers Talk Crime host. I love your show. The way you talk, the vibe I get when I watch your show, and even more. You are the kind of people I want to be like. My name is also Ashleigh, and it's like I'm there too. I love the vibe I'm getting when I watch the show. I agree with many of your opinions that you give on the episodes. Love you guys and keep it up. Love you. Bye."
Not love you. Bye. Okay, oos, oos with a bunch of letters.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashleigh. Ashleigh.
Yeah. Why couldn't that just be a username?
Yeah. Like, what is a oos? I would love to know the thought
I think she went like this.
100%.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it came up with. And then now she is named Oos Oos with a bunch of letters.
Yeah. So oos oos with a bunch of letters, aka Ashleigh. Ashleigh.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you so much for your review. This gold starts for you. Bing. Mm-hmm.
That's the first time we've done that on recording.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait. Did we do a star student for Alan Ivanov?
I don't know.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember either. Oh. Well, we'll have to double check that.
Okay, we will. Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Ashleigh's going to bring us a case today. So let's get into it. Sit down, shut up. The death is about to begin.
Hold on. Alrighty then, everybody. So I'm going off my phone today because I only have one screen and I want to make sure I see Brooke's reaction while I'm reading. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be doing a lot of until I make it more like conducive, for me. So the trigger warnings for today's lesson are suicide and bullying. If these topics are something that you don't have the capacity for at the moment, feel free to skip today's lesson and we'll see you back in class next time. 11-year-old sixth grader Felicia LoAlbo-Melendez went into her mother, Elaina LoAlbo's bedroom. Her mother recalls the morning as follows. "I wanted her to stay home another day, but she popped into my bedroom that morning, kissed me like she always does, and said she had missed too much play practice and had an idea for her costume, and then told me to make pedicure appointments for us." Many of you may be wondering why Elaina wanted her daughter to stay home from school another day. Unfortunately, Felicia's father, New Jersey Transit Detective Alexis Melendez, passed away in January after discovering that he had pancreatic cancer 3 weeks prior. He was laid to rest on February 4th, 2023.
Oh, yeah. Grieving time. Absolutely.
Yeah. So literally this was on the 6th. So 2 days after he was buried. She's like, "I'm trying to go back to school. I got play practice. Make us some pedicure appointments. Love you so much, Mom."
But I don't think, kids don't have the same coping skills that adults do. And even some adults don't have coping skills. Like, I mean, 100%. Look at adults. We cope with drugs, alcohol, all kinds of things, So maybe that was her way of trying to cope with it because, we recently just had a kid whose brother passed away and he was out for 3 days and right back at school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then it's also crazy to think, like, as teachers, I think when you have a death in your immediate family, I think you only get 3 days. I really think it's something little like that. I'm almost certain it's like 3 days or something crazy like that. And it's just like, so you're giving me 3 days to process the death of someone in my immediate family, not someone like who's like a cousin twice removed who I've met like 3 times, but like someone who like I know and love 100%. I think that's just crazy. I mean, granted, no one's saying to give us like a month off because that's like, okay, but like a week.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And don't bother us.
And leave me alone. Don't ask me for sub plans. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out, whatever. According to sources, Felicia was in therapy to help cope with the loss of her father. And as I just stated a minute ago, Elaina recalls Felicia was eager and excited to go back to school on this particular day. She went as far as to state that Felicia skipped her way to FW Holbein School that morning, and it was a morning just like any other. Sadly, Felicia would never go on that nail date with her mother. Yeah. And I hope I'm saying that school name right. I couldn't find it.
Right.
I did my best. Thank you.
That's all we can ask.
Mm-hmm. At around 1 p.m., another student found Felicia unresponsive inside of a bathroom stall with a scarf around her neck. The student immediately went to find help for Felicia, and according to one source, life-saving measures were taken by school officials, police, and emergency medical technicians. Felicia was first transported by an ambulance to a local hospital, but was later transferred to CHOP, which is Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Felicia would be pronounced dead 2 days later on February 8th, 2023. The Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office would later rule Felicia's death as suicide and determine that she passed away due to complications from hanging. She's 11.
This is like one of like my biggest fears in education.
100%.
Because this is not talked about. Like, I think a lot of schools sweep these things under the rugs, but during our trainings, like our counselor's biggest fear is that a kid's going to go into the bathroom and do something on school campus with all of these adults who are trained and legally mandated reporters. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
But I think there's also flaws in the system because
1,000%.
I will give you an example. I think that the flaw is if a student confides in a counselor that they are wanting to self-harm or they are wanting to act upon these suicidal thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
The counselor cannot legally tell the teacher. So how am I supposed to know not to let this child go to the bathroom alone as an 8th grader? I should be able to trust that my kids are going to go to the bathroom, use the bathroom, and come back, right?
100%,
or as an 8th grader does, go to the bathroom, check their cell phone, and come back, right?
Yeah.
But you're telling me that there are multiple students in our school setting. I'm making this up, but like, you're telling me there's multiple kids in our school setting that have thought about taking their own lives, and you
don't
can't
know
tell
about
us, and we don't know about it, and you expect me to use the discretion of the bathroom on my own? How am I supposed to know?
That's so backwards. Why wouldn't you? What do they see it as, like a breach of like confidentiality?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, you have to think who's in front of these kids all day long. Like, granted, guidance counselors, they're there for occasional help when it's needed.
Right.
We are in front of those kids all day. So if anybody needs to know, it's us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Point blank, period.
Yeah. And unless I hear a kid say something that's concerning, like I've had kids in the past, I think it was like, what was it? 5 years ago, I had a kid write a note, about wanting to self-harm, took it to the counselor, and no, I didn't let that kid know. But that was a personal experience. Like I had that happen in my room, but I don't know what happens in the other 7 classes of their day. So 100%. I feel like there is just I'm glad that we're trained in the way that we are to be legally mandated reporters. I think that says a lot, and I think it does help a lot. But I also think there's just so many things we could do better in our system.
I think the necessary parties need to be involved, regardless. Like, no one's going to go and snitch and tell everybody in the school. But the people who are in front of this child most, who see them, who would possibly see changes in their behavior, they need to be notified. Because the counselor's not going to see it. What, you going to come and follow them to all their classes?
No.
When you have a whole school to take care of?
Right.
That's just not logical.
I agree. And I mean, thank God there were people on, Felicia's campus that knew life-saving techniques. Like, I don't know how I would react. You can't say until you're in that situation.
Yeah. I mean,
and now this child that found her is traumatized for life, and that's not Felicia's fault, but like an 11-year-old shouldn't have to find something like that and then call it in. And 2, an 11-year-old should not be having these thoughts. Like, we should have things in place for these kids.
And I was talking to someone about this the other day, and sorry for going up on a tangent, guys, but it's necessary to be said. I teach third grade. I have kids riddled with anxiety. I don't even think that I was this anxious as a third grader.
We didn't know what anxiety was in the third grade, Ashleigh.
We definitely didn't.
As talked about, and it definitely wasn't on mainstream media. But these kids log on, and that's the media that they see. And so, like, do they really have, or let me rephrase that. I'm not going to question if they really have anxiety. Would they have had anxiety if anxiety wasn't so widely talked about and put into their heads? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't really know where it's coming from, because even my own children, like, I can see sometimes with Skylar and her perfectionism and wanting to be great at everything, and it's just like, baby, like, this is just not realistic. Like, you know what I mean? But I have a kid who, third grader, is literally in class all day, like, putting his fingers through his hair and, like, pulling out his hair. Like, we did a question from a story. We were reading one question, restated the question, gave them a whole entire song to write the restate. When I was circulating the room, he only had 3 letters written on his paper. And the song is not like a short song. It's like a 5-minute song. You know what I mean? I know my kids are not going to move as quickly at this point in the school year. So I want to give them the time to, take their time and to practice their handwriting. And, I asked someone taking the bus today, I was like, so, what's going on? Like, why were we, how did I word it? I said, how come we weren't able to get everything written? I'm just curious. Miss Brant just wants to know so I can help you in the future. He's like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just, what was the word he used? He said either something like either overwhelming or it's a lot. And sometimes I get confused. And I said, is it because you can't see the board? He's like, no, I can see. Sometimes I just get confused. So I'm just like, okay, well, and again, if this was to happen a year ago, 2 years ago, like, it would be like, okay, I have to figure something out. And I wouldn't have the time to do it. You know what I mean? I would do my best to, like, all right, I'm going to pair them with this kid and figure something out. But now that I only have 22 kids, I'm able to really sit down and think, all right, my kid writes really slow. He has anxiety, and I could visibly see him, like, looking at the board, I could visibly, and I was just watching to observe, you know what I mean? Because I like to observe before I intervene. I like to see if they can possibly figure it out before I come and intervene for them. You know what I mean? Because problem solving is a very important skill that a lot of our children lack. A lot of them do.
Yes.
But I have to figure out something for him because this is an issue that we need to solve. But it's just so crazy how just younger and younger, I feel like, just by the masses, like, kids, oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I have ADHD. Oh, like, is it in the food? Well, like, what?
It could be.
Like, should I be growing my own farm?
It's definitely in the media. We know that.
Yeah. Like, should I have a farm and raise my own animals? And because I just don't understand it. I just don't.
Right.
And it's a little concerning. The Mount Holly Township School District Superintendent Robert Mungo released the following letter on February 8th. Dear Mount Holly School community, today we learned of the passing of one of our students. This tragic news impacts the entire school community. Our priority is to provide support and direction during this extremely difficult time. We will continue to work as an administrative team alongside our board and staff to respond to our school community's needs. Now, I couldn't find, like, if there was more to the letter. Like, it was just like a clip in the sources. But he also provided mental health websites, phone numbers, and counseling services.
Wow, that's really good, though. I mean, we had, not in our district, but there was it last year or the year before? I'm not sure. But there was a kid in the surrounding area, not our district, not our town, but in like a nearby town. And several of our students went to, like, church camp with this kid, went to, like, this same church, community events, and they took their own life. And we had group counseling sessions available for students at school.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Because those things need to be put into place, because you never know who might know the kid. Like you said, like, he didn't go to your school, but your kids interacted with that person. So it's important for them to have the services they need in order to properly grieve and,
correct,
and mourn the situation. Now, before I go any further, I wanted to talk about Felicia and give you all the opportunity to get to know her because Felicia was a pretty amazing girl. Felicia LoAlbo-Melendez was born on December 19th, 2011, to Alexis Melendez and Elaina LoAlbo. Felicia enjoyed anime and theater. She enjoyed celebrating Halloween. If you haven't already seen our post on Instagram for this episode, go check it out to see a picture of Felicia, because she's dressed in like this costume and she is incredibly adorable and she has a little peace sign. She's so.
Oh.
I couldn't tell if it was like an anime dress up or something, but it's kind of like a flowery red dress, and she has like, in like Asian culture, yeah, like they have that like long, it's kind of like a kimono, I feel like, and there's like a tighter dress on top that makes it more form-fitting. So that's what it looked like she was wearing, but she's so adorable. Felicia also did Krav Maga, and I'll get into it later why she was doing it. She enjoyed doing crafts and had a deep love for reading. Now, that's very important to me as a reading teacher because my students this year have a deep-rooted hatred for reading.
So like, now you have to change the stigma.
I have a lot of work to do. But anyway, reading that she enjoyed reading makes my heart smile because I feel like as the years go by, less and less kids like to read.
Yeah, I agree.
Less and less, okay? But that's a conversation for another day. Felicia was being put in advanced classes by second grade. She loved playing the saxophone in her school's band and sang in their chorus too. And pretty much, summing up, Felicia was a jack of all trades. She was doing everything. A direct quote from Felicia's obituary states the following: "She was a compassionate human everyone wishes they could be. Felicia was truly kind and selfless, who inspired others with her radiant personality. She was the most loving daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, cousin, and friend that will be deeply missed." Her mother, Elaina, stated the following: "Felicia was a bright light who touched so many people. She was an old soul, wise beyond her short 11 years.
That breaks my heart.
I know. Like she was.
My heart.
And then when I just get into like, why? Like you're going to be irritated. Like incredibly irritated. Because I remember it took me a couple days to write this and I was just like, I had to take breaks. I was like, why?
Right.
Why? Why? Because it could have been prevented 1,000%.
Yeah. I'm sure. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm sure.
Now that you've gotten to know this young lady a little bit more, let's get back to why she was taken from this world entirely too soon. So why would this happen? According to Elaina, Felicia was bullied constantly. She also reveals that the staff in the school never contacted her when there was any kind of physical, emotional, mental, or verbal abuse being done to her daughter. The only reason she had known that any of this was happening was because Felicia would come home from school and tell her mom all about it. A direct quote from one source states the following: "They were telling her to unalive herself. They called her all kinds of derogatory names, put gum in her hair, stole from her." Elaina said that bullying would happen everywhere, in the halls, in the classroom, and even on school trips. She went on to say that teachers and staff were present for all of this, and she was never contacted.
Wow. Wow. No. I'm 8th grade, and it's hard in 8th grade because a lot of them have banter in the 8th grade. However, you don't know at what point that person's going to take it seriously, right? And there's a lot of like girl-boy banter, right, back and forth because it's 8th grade. They're 13, 14 years old. And there are kids in my class, like the boy will start it. He'll say something about the girl. The boy is overweight. The girl calls him fat. And like, she's just sticking up for herself. I get it. But then he goes, and then she goes, and then, and then you say something and you're like, well, we're just joking. They know I'm just, but do they know you're just joking? Do they? Because there was a situation in my room with a boy pointing out imperfections on women, like talking about stretch marks on women. And then, there was a girl talking about how I have fake hair, and I'm just like, at what point do you think what you're saying is kind? I don't understand who hurt you to want to hurt me or want to talk about women and their stretch marks. And I told the kid, I was like, one day you're going to learn to appreciate stretch marks. Like what we're saying matters. And I don't know. It's hard in 8th grade because it is so back and forth. And a lot of these kids will retaliate and say something back. And it's like, at that point, who's the actual bully? You know what I mean? Like, not if they're both going at it, they both need to be reported?
Yeah. I mean, they were triggered and they wanted to, protect themselves. Maybe they weren't the initiator, but like,
right.
You still continue to add to it. And like you said, you don't know how someone is going to internalize this. You have no idea at all. I remember when I was in school, my last name was Roach before I got married, and then I got divorced, and I kept the last name because it's my kid's last name. So I was gonna have the same last name as them. And I remember like people telling me like they would step on my mom and step on my dad in their house, and like, oh, I stepped on your family members on the way to school, and I hated that. I hate it. Like I remember once we had a sub, and they were like Ashleigh Roach, and I was like, no, Roche. Like I actively was trying to change my last name because I didn't, I didn't like being called that. So I just remember one day, I can't remember how it came to be, but someone was like, I stepped on your mom this morning. And I was just like, well, why do you have roaches in your house?
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not like I said anything negative, like to hurt them, but it's like you're saying all this stuff about me, but also why do you have roaches in your home?
Right. A teacher did something really interesting the other day in our school. Like this kid started started picking on another student, and the teacher went, all right, everybody look at Ashleigh. Clearly they want the attention. Let's give them the attention they deserve. And paused the whole class and like, go finish what you're saying. You want the attention so bad. We're all looking. And she said that they were like, no, I'm good.
And it's crazy because you have to know your kids well enough to know who you can do that with and who you cannot. Because it lets you get the smart aleck kid to be like, all right, well, so-and-so and da-da-da-da. And then your whole plan is backfired. You feel me? Like, so it's great that she knew, like, I'm going to do this one thing and it's going to silence them. And I'm going to get back to what I'm doing. Because that's what I used to do too. Like some people, like some kids, like you said, which kids you could do that with. And some kids you can just be like, for what? But like, I'll look at kids and be like, why? And they'll be like, yeah, you're right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know your audience. You got to know your kids at the end of the day. Hold on. I locked my
phone again. Let me relax my back. This is a pretty sight, John. Okay. Back at it.
Okay. Elaina went to the school to confront school officials about what was happening to Felicia. In December, she and the principal had a conversation about moving Felicia into a different classroom. The school was supposed to move Felicia into another class. However, she was never actually moved. When this didn't work, Elaina went right to the source and called the parents of the children responsible for the bullying. She stated the following: I did go as far as calling other families and speaking to them in reference to their children's bullying. Obviously, none of that helped the situation. She also encouraged Felicia to take Krav Maga so she could stand up for herself, since the school clearly wasn't going to make any efforts to fix the situation.
Why are we not moving our class? You said you were. Why didn't you do it? You're the leader of this school. You're the leader of the school. It's 2 clicks in a computer system. It's 2 clicks.
I hate things like that.
Why did you promise this mother something and not deliver? Like what's the reason? Like you looked this mother in the eye or on the phone and you said, we're going to move her class. That's a good solution. And it probably would have been. It probably would have been great. But
we probably wouldn't even be here today.
You didn't do it. You didn't make 2 clicks in a computer, change her schedule, introduce her to her new teacher, and send her on her way. You didn't do it.
I hope they lose sleep about it every night. Because Like, there are protocols in place for a reason. There are bullying protocols. Kids can get suspended for bullying now. Cyberbullying. Like, this is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely real thing that affects kids, and kids are taking their life from it. However, and the crazy thing is it's her mother. You know what I mean? Her mother is now going up to the school like, hey, this is what's happening with my daughter and nothing's being done. So what's going on? And you're going to sit there and lie to that mother's face and say that you're going to do something that you never did?
Yeah.
And now this has happened?
Shame on you.
100%. Absolutely.
I don't blame her for calling parents, but you got to, I would say you got to be careful. I would say you have to be prepared. Because even as teachers, when we call parents, my kid wouldn't do that. You're lying. My kid told me a different story. They said you did this. You know what I mean? Like, you get those parents that are defensive, that their little Tommy does nothing wrong. And God forbid, Tommy's actually horrid. You know?
Or you get those parents that are like, I understand why your child is this way.
Yeah.
I get it. Because you are now exhibiting the same behavior that your child was exhibiting in my class. And I'm coming to you as a teacher, letting you know the information. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do better. 100%.
I mean, we do. I mean, I have a child whose language is horrific. Horrific. Every other word. Made parent contact. I asked the kid, I conferenced with the kid. I was like, what's going on? Well, I talk like this at home, so I don't know what you want me to do. So I called and confirmed. They allow their child to curse at home as long as he is not cursing at them.
No.
You're 13.
No.
Have
you ever heard of code switching?
You don't see the problem with that? You don't see, I mean, I'm not a parent. I'm sorry, but and maybe I have no right to overstep, but like, and you just said exactly what I said. That was in our conference. I said, well, so we really have to start learning how to code switch. I said, do you know what that means? And he goes, no. And I was like, that means if you want to speak like that in the hallway with your peers, you're welcome to. That's your life. Those are your peers. Like, but when you enter in the presence of a police officer, would you speak like that? No. I said, okay, that's code switching. Would you speak like that to your pastor? No. That's code switching. Would 100%. You dress like you're dressing at school when you go to church? No. That's code switching. I said, so I should be no different. My classroom door should be you entering into a different dimension, and you should code switch into classroom behavior.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's so crazy.
But yeah, I commend her for calling, but I hope she was prepared for any excuse that those parents gave.
Because they probably would.
Yeah.
And then me, as being someone who's experienced bullying, like, I don't take it at any form. I don't even like when the girls bully each other. I'm like, this is supposed to be your best friend. This is your A1 day one right here.
Literally.
Like, legitimately. You don't treat her that way. Because at the end of the day, you should have her back and she should have yours. Point blank, period.
Yeah.
No questions asked. So, Elaina always encouraged Felicia to advocate for herself. Felicia did just that and wrote a letter to the school officials a month prior to her death to propose a trauma club.
I love that. Gosh, she's so ahead of her time.
Her mom said she was also. And then listen to this email. The email that she wrote stated the following. I was watching TV and thinking about the things in my life that happened to me, and I got a great idea. Instead of drama club, it could be a trauma club. I would help and provide as much as I can. It would need a room that is not too big and not too small. We would need a couple of chairs too, but I hope this does happen. I, for one, have heard from my friends and others about things that have happened to them, and I think this would be a fantastic thing. Have a great night. Go Dragons.
Oh, she was going to be a leader.
Like,
she was going to be a leader.
It's the Go Dragons for me. So you're telling me that all of these things are happening to you. You're being bullied in the school.
And your mom is contacting
the school. The mom is contacting the school. You're contacting the school, telling them about your bullying. And then you selflessly decide to put Go Dragons, showing your school spirit,
Yep.
For this school that has failed you.
Yes.
Girl.
Tenfolds. I mean, like, kudos. Snaps all around.
Like, she is such a pure human being and better than most of us would have been in this situation. 100%.
No, she's better than we are. If I'm annoyed and I send an email to anybody in our school, staff, whole staff, admin, and I'm annoyed that day, you get a Brooke Dozier. You get nothing else. You don't get a thank you, a sincerely. You get nothing. Brooke Dozier.
Go school spirit. No, I'm angry. I'm upset. And
my spirit's broken.
And I don't know if Elena's ever going to listen to this. I would hope she would one day, but I just want her to know that she has raised this baby right. Despite everything that she has went through, she is still showing her support for her school by closing it off with Go Dragons. Like,
speaks volumes.
What an amazing little girl. What a truly amazing human being. I remember reading that and I was just like, wow, she's so adorable. And you could feel her genuinity. Like, you know, a room not too big, with a couple of chairs. Like, you could just feel her thought process unraveling in that email. And I just, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. According to one source, a week prior to Felicia's death, she emailed her school counselor to inform them that she was being bullied and that the school was breaking laws by not addressing this issue. Again, Felicia is sending this email to school officials.
She's talking about
to
school
let them
law.
know.
Yeah, you are breaking the law.
100%. Girl, yes. Yes.
And what she doesn't realize is she's even doing more by documenting in email form.
She's got the evidence. She's got the data. She sure does. Elaina claims that the counselor called her to reprimand Felicia and to tell her to watch her language.
Absolutely not. Nope. Nope. You can be fired. Goodbye. You're gone. Thank you. See you later.
So I'm coming to you. And granted, it doesn't say what exactly was said in the email, but I just don't imagine
she got
Felicia
aggressive.
using foul language in this email. And for you to call her mother, not to say, hey, Felicia came to my office today. She told me about some bullying. We're looking into it. You called this mother to tell her to reprimand her daughter for speaking up for herself and to watch her language.
No. No. Maybe if you just do your job as the counselor. That's too much to ask? Just do your job.
It's not that hard. It's literally what you were hired to do.
Yeah, it's what you went to school for.
You signed a contract.
Right.
This is what you're supposed to do.
And you probably were breaking laws. And why does an 11-year-old have to tell you that? Are you embarrassed that an 11-year-old knew more than you?
Probably.
Okay. Suck it up,
but
Buttercup.
Do better.
Exactly.
Do better. Again, Felicia's concerns were blatantly disregarded and never addressed. The same day that Felicia sent the email, she was seen by her therapist and evaluated. The school counselor actually requested the evaluation. I'm not sure what the evaluation was. I guess to just evaluate like her mental state possibly. Because, she's actively going through all these things at this time.
Right.
A direct quote from Elaina states the following. I had my daughter psychologically evaluated that afternoon, and she was found to be of sound mind and have no self-harm to herself. It is important to note that while this is happening, Felicia was also dealing with the death of her father. So even though she was going through these traumatic events, her therapist declared her as being of sound mind and not being a danger to herself. Her mom even disclosed that Felicia's therapist and the cancer community were really assisting Felicia with the loss of her dad. A direct quote from Elaina states the following. She thought that her school friends and her tribe were people that helped her through these moments, and she reached out to them. She felt like she was getting through all of these moments the way that she was supposed to. And I feel the same. Elaina even looked carefully through Felicia's phone and found no evidence that she wanted to harm herself.
She was doing everything right. Everything right.
Everything. It's really just the school at this point. It's really just the school.
Well, and the bullies.
Oh yeah. And shame on them.
Yeah,
shame on all
them.
of you.
Yeah.
Like, who hurt you so you had to now hurt somebody else?
Yeah. Well, and also the parents of the bullies. Like, why is it okay that your child's acting this way and you're not addressing it?
Yeah.
I
mean, when I tell you, there was a situation at daycare once. And when I tell you, Skylar lost all privileges, I said, that is not okay. These are not things we say. I'm not sure why you would say something like this. It's not okay. We went to the library. We got books. Like, we're changing this immediately. I don't play when it comes to mine. One thing my kid is going to be is kind and respectful to everybody.
And that's what we talked to Casey about that. Like, Casey has a boy that hugs her a lot, and Casey told Mary, she was like, I don't like him. I don't want to play with him. He hugs me too much. And Mary was like, Casey, you probably are his only friend. And like, the moms will come up to Casey and they're like, so-and-so said that Casey's the only one that'll talk to them. And like Mary's like, you need to continue to be that no matter what. You need to play and be nice. Like, and got to learn now that you might not want to play with them, but you're still going to be kind to them.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And maybe he's touching you too much. Like, say, no, thank you. Like,
yeah,
I don't want you to hug me right now. Like, I'm okay. But you can still talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could let him know your boundaries. Like, hey, I don't like being touched like that. That's fine. Advocate for yourself 100%. Now, while researching, I was immediately like, what is the deal with this school? Because clearly we have a ton of issues going on. So I looked up FW Holbein School on Google, and the greatschools.org website's rating for the school is a 2.9.
Oh, wow.
Now, majority of these reviews left about the school were in the 1 to 2 star range. And I mean, all of these reviews were either written by teachers or students or parents of students within the school. But the trend of the reviews were very similar. A student review from February 21st, 2023 states, there are bugs in the school like cockroaches and wasps. The teachers can be pretty rude sometimes and can take everything out on the students. The teachers need to hear the students more and discipline them when they say something inappropriate. This is a student.
Wow.
A parent guardian review from January 20th, 2022 states, fighting is not tolerated here at all. Bullying, however, is. Had I known how bad this district is, I would have never purchased a home here. The students are rough here, boys and girls. Just today, 3 girls approached one very timid girl very hostile after school. After they noticed I was watching, they left her alone. There were other adults around. They are that rogue. Administration and teachers are nice enough. A few teachers are pretty good, but the kids here are an aggressive bunch. We moved here due to RV's reputation. Hopefully, we'll be long gone before my kids get there.
Wow.
A parent guardian review from March 10th, 2020 states, in reference to character, I guess under the school website, it talks about like the it says character and it has a description for the school. So it says character. This school develops strong character in its students, like integrity, compassion, and respect. And the parent wrote, respect? Does that include bullying being overlooked or a gang of kids trampling a 7th grade female student and walking on her head? Prisons have these events, not middle schools. Then it goes into bullying. This school effectively deals with bullying. Absolutely not. They also fail to thoroughly investigate bullying and will never file a report with the state of New Jersey as required by law. Holbein's academic record is poor enough without adding disregard for student safety to that. It would then be a 1 out of 10 instead of a 3. So just by this alone, you can clearly see that there is an issue with bullying within this school.
Yes, and it was not just Felicia.
No, not at all. Now, I know nothing about the school other than what I found while researching.
Right.
Could this be a wonderful school? 100%. I'm just reporting what I found. So nobody come for me if you go there, if you know people there, if you think it's great.
Right.
I'm just reporting what I saw. This is what I looked at. Granted, were there positive reviews about the school? 100%.
Yeah.
But we're focusing on the bullying aspect right now. And 3 of these reviews have explicitly stated that this school blatantly ignores bullying inquiries.
Which it should have no review saying that.
100%.
Nobody should be able to say that in a school setting in 2023.
Mm-hmm. According to one source, Seth Turner stated that his daughter was a close friend of Felicia during the March 15th school board meeting. He went on to reveal that his daughter told him that Felicia was being bullied by people in her class. Seth stated the following: I failed to convey this information to any teachers or staff in time for anything to be done, and I need to apologize for this. He went on to state the following: while no response to the death of an 11-year-old girl can ever be adequate, our response to this tragedy so far has been pathetic. Felicia deserves better. She deserves a full investigation. She deserves a full accounting, and she deserves truth. And I hope that we can give it to her.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is a parent of a daughter who was her friend.
Yeah.
Like, even he's taking accountability.
Oh, wow. So why can't the school?
Thank you. Why? With the world will never know.
I mean, celebrities put out better apology videos.
Yeah, I mean, not Meghan Trainors, though.
No, trash.
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. According to one source, in April of this year, Superintendent Mungo responded to the concerns of neglected bullying by stating that the school district remains focused on strengthening our support system for students, especially regarding their social and emotional well-being. And beyond that, we are committed to a culture that involves our entire school community in making our schools safe and secure for every student. Unfortunately, throughout my research, nothing confirmed if the Mount Holly Township School District was actively making the necessary changes.
Or if it was just a blanket statement.
And honestly, there was a statement that after this came out, well, Elaina said, like, this is nothing. Like, they're just talking to talk. You know what I mean? They're not actively doing anything to fix this. They're just getting so much backlash that they had to say something. But if you're going to say something.
This happened last February. So we've already started a new school year. Like, if I went to your teachers and asked them if they've had any suicide prevention trainings, would they say yes? Did you give them trainings? Did you give them signs? Did you get a new counselor? Did you give your counselor trainings? Did you come up with a new system on how to file a bullying report? Mm-hmm. Like, show me what you've done different this school year to prevent this from ever happening again.
Yep.
Because the proof is in the pudding, and you ain't got no pudding.
None. Puddingless.
Mm-hmm.
With all that being said, Elaina is having a very hard time coming to terms that Felicia could do something like this to herself. She is demanding to see the footage that proves Felicia was the only one in the bathroom on the day of her death. She revealed that she was told she couldn't see the footage during an ongoing investigation. However, the prosecutor's office disclosed that this case is closed. They also stated that Felicia was in fact alone at the time of her death and that there was no foul play involved. However, Elaina stands firm that she needs to see it for herself for closure. Prosecutors did say that they would honor Elena's request to see the surveillance video, but all of the sources' latest reports on this state that she is still trying to see the footage. There is a change.org petition for the release of the footage to Elaina, and we've linked that in our show notes, as well as a GoFundMe for Elaina and her 2 sons. Here on Teachers Talk Crime, we always try to bring light to our cases, and this one is no different. Elena's goal is to build Felicia's anti-bullying legacy, and she'd like to call it Felicia's fingerprints.
Oh, gosh. Wow.
According to one source, she hopes to create a nonprofit that is dedicated to a healing and safe place for children, just like her daughter described in the email she wrote to the school officials. Plans for Felicia's fingerprints are currently on hold, but they did have a soft launch event not long after Felicia's death. The event offered the community a safe space to be able to grieve Felicia. Art and music therapy were also provided. Since the event, over 100 books were donated to help build and transform this vision into a reality. Elaina stated the following: I believe that my daughter had a very strong anti-bullying campaign in life, and that will continue.
Wow. That is beautiful that like people donated so much, and like they had music and art therapy. Like that was Alicia's jam.
It really was.
I'm sorry, Felicia. Sorry, so sorry. Felicia's jam. Like what a way to honor her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the name.
Right? Felicia's fingerprints. Stop it. And that was the case of Felicia LoAlbo-Melendez. And I would just like to state again that the school absolutely failed her.
Yeah.
1,000%. Like, how did all of her bullying concerns, on top of her mother going to the school, get ignored?
Yeah.
There was no follow-up, no restorative practices, no consequences, no nothing. And that is just bizarre to me because I just recently read that that suicide is the second leading death in kids and teens from the ages 10 to 19 in the United States.
It is.
That is legit a fourth grader. A fourth grader. And you blatantly ignored these bullying concerns. Even the other kids who are being bullied, their concerns are being ignored. Like,
yep.
I just want an explanation. Why are none of y'all doing your job?
The family deserves an explanation.
100%.
And all you're doing is typing in ChatGPT an apology letter. Like, you're not even doing anything.
Like, that's just crazy to me. That's just real crazy to me. Real crazy to me.
I don't like a district that sweep things under the rug.
No, not at all. Because, like,
address it.
For what?
Yeah.
Own your faults. I think like people would appreciate you more if you owned up to it. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
We really dropped the ball with this. And for that, we are very sorry. And we are actively working through our mistake to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. I would be like, you know what? Thank you for admitting you're wrong in this. Because not once were they like, we messed up. Not once.
Right. I don't know how she doesn't have a lawsuit.
Maybe it's coming.
Maybe that's exactly what. Maybe it's coming because.
Maybe it's coming.
Like,
maybe it's coming.
Me and James were just talking about that last night. Not necessarily about this, but just like I would have a lawsuit. Like, there's a teacher, I can't remember where. She just got fired because her ex-boyfriend retaliated and sent nudes to her district, and they fired her. A lawsuit. Lawsuit.
That's not fair. Like, here's the thing. I get, because one thing that I cannot stand is that we as teachers are held to this standard.
Yeah.
Like, we can do no wrong. We can see no wrong. We can be no wrong. We're supposed to be perfect human beings, which is impossible.
Yeah.
We are human just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Granted, it sucks that he released that. He should have never done something like that. However, why are you faulting her for something that he did?
Yeah. Yeah. But that just brings up the point. Like, me and James were like, lawsuit. We would sue. I mean, you got to hold these schools accountable. And I'm not saying just sue for everything. I don't have that mindset. Like, that's not my mindset. But like, when they have done something wrong, even if Felicia's mom doesn't win, she held them accountable and she made them address issues that they're not addressing.
Yes. Yes.
So that's my opinion. And that's my opinion.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988 or text TALK to 741-741. I would like to end today's episode with words spoken by Felicia herself. This is a voice message that she left in 2021. So for today, Felicia will be dismissing you, not us. So Felicia is going to take it away, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
If you are listening to this, my name is Felicia. You may know that, well, I was one of the last owners of this phone. Unless you're me and, well, you're listening to this from the future. Then say hello to future mom, future dad, future brother Ryan, future Ja, future Jeanette, future everyone. Just say hi to them for me. And never, never, never be bad. Never give up on your friends. Never, ever, 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 ever be a bully. Never be a bully. Or no one will be talking to you. And I don't want that. I just don't. And I know you don't too. So listen to me. Never, never be bad. Okay?